When I first started out, I thought about doing medicine, I thought about doing veterinary, and it was all around the desire to help people. I ended up doing biochemical engineering with a view that I could help people by getting pharmaceuticals made into patients. So we started the business in 2004. We did a number of facility designs for biopharmaceutical companies. So we initially focused it with 3 colleagues I started with, which was an architect, a process engineer, a pharmacist, and myself, to do facility designs for biopharmaceuticals because that was our skill set. Then in 2007, we got involved in our first cell and gene therapy project, and that was at Guy's Hospital in London. Most of cell therapy at that time was in academia and hospitals, and so this was our first introduction, and it completely blew my mind, the promise of the potential cures that it was going to come up with, but also the very early stage that this industry was at. We then started bringing on what we now call our translation consulting group. We brought on CMC consultants and we brought on QPs who could certify and release products, and that enabled them to be able to talk to academics on the one hand about the research and what they needed to do to get into manufacturing, and that gap between the two and what the steps were to get from the one to the other, so that we could then design the facility, put those products and processes in there, and then at the end of the manufacturing we could QP release the products. And that very first project we did at Guy's Hospital starting in 2007, by 2010 the facility was licensed and in manufacturing, and we've actually been QP certifying products there ever since, so that's now 15 years later. So we were beginning to get some questions with our CMC strategies, and our CMC plans was, well, those are very nice strategies, but how actually are we going to do this work? We've got nowhere to do them. That was really the driver for starting the process development labs. And then initially, the clients we had at the time were very focused on AAV process development, and so for the first 2-3 years that was our focus. So our clients were starting to say to us, well, why can't you do manufacturing as well? At the same time, there was a number of investors who were also interested in investing in manufacturing for CDMOs, and so those two things came together. We got an investor in place, and that enabled us to select the site that we're now in Bristol and start to put in our manufacturing facilities. The facility in Bristol is very conveniently located between the M4 and the M5. It's a large facility. We haven't fitted the whole of it out. We've put in all of our offices. We've brought all our process development that was previously in an incubator centre, and that's now here. And then we added 4 manufacturing clean rooms, which we call process agnostic, which means they can do anything from AAV to lenti to autologous cell therapies to allogeneic cell therapies and even RNA. We also have fill finish capability, so we go all the way through to drug product. And we have 1,100 square metres of fallow space, which could be either more of the same, more manufacturing clean rooms for clinical, or it could be scaled up manufacturing for larger scale vector, for example, up to 1,000 litre maybe, or for autologous cell therapies, maybe up to a few thousand therapies per year going through our facility. We tend to start with clients at a very early stage, and that can be when they're still academic groups. We have an academic strategy which is very focused on helping academics very cost effectively start their journey. And one of the things that we're passionate about is making sure that they get their CMC strategy right from the beginning, which means that they focus on the things they need to focus on, and that means they have a chance of the fastest possible route to the clinic. And then having helped them understand what the strategy and the plan is, how much it's going to cost, how long it's going to take, that enables them to get funding as a spin-out company, and then we're into being able to help them with process development and then into manufacturing. But all the time, our consultants are sitting in the background helping them for that whole journey and walking with them as much as they need through that pathway. Our potential partners and clients should expect that we will, one, be challenging, because we're not the kind of consultants that will just tell you what you want to hear, but should also expect that we'll be very collaborative and that between us we will generate something that's so much better than either of us could have done by ourselves. So what makes eXmoor unique is we have now manufacturing capabilities as a full-service CDMO, all the way from starting materials to drug product, but we're backed by this 20 years of consulting experience, which is really since the very early days of the industry. And that depth of expertise and that our embedding in client organisations, our helping with CMC strategies, our ability to handhold through process development and into manufacturing is what makes us unique as a full-service CDMO. I think it's no longer the case that people wonder whether cell and gene therapies work. We now know that they work. So now it's about getting them to be cost-effective and to be made available to patients. And the journey's not over yet. So I'm still committed to making that journey and helping to make those products more accessible to more patients so that everybody can have their shot at getting a cure for their disease.